Leeds United have just beaten Rotherham United 3-0, and I think this is going to be an absolutely massive day for Leeds United's promotion run. I'm going to run through what the team news was, what happened defensively, what happened going forwards, a couple of little concerns I had in addition to what happened elsewhere, and why this could be the game that makes the difference in the push for promotion. So first up, we've got to talk about the team selection, and it was basically what we expected. A lot of people have said, why change a winning team? And I think they're right on this one. We don't need to make adjustments when everyone is fit, everyone's playing well, and no one has any particular concerns in terms of injuries or anything like that. Especially when no one is looking particularly slow, either on the ball or pressing, anything like that. It was a good choice. In addition to that, we had a very strong bench for this game, and Jamie Shackleton is still out, presumably still that illness. He wasn't able to train up until, I think, yesterday afternoon, and even then he was a doubt, so who knows. Now, to talk about the match itself, first up, we have to admit, there was a fairly scary first half. We had so much of the ball and almost every single chance, but we weren't able to put them away. We were extremely dominant, but we were only 1-0 up at half-time. And I think that was a massive issue for us, because when that happens, you really risk a single corner pulling everything apart, and I think we dealt with it well. We had plenty of chances, including a referee not giving a penalty, and Jesus Christ, that was the most blatant penalty. It was... Nonto got like a leg wrapped around his and pulled to the ground. They didn't touch the ball in the slightest, and the referee gave a goal kick anyway. So the referee knew that there wasn't any contact between defender and ball, but didn't give a penalty either way. Bizarre, to be honest with you. The referee genuinely had a complete stinker. I think the one bit that sums it up more than anything else is when there was a challenge, gentle hand, on a Rotherham player's back near the assistant referee about 2 yards away. The assistant referee doesn't give anything, but the ref's like, you know what? I think that's a free kick. Anyway, aside from that, let's get into more like actual football stuff rather than complaining about a referee. In terms of attacking shape, I think we looked really good in this game. We knew that Rotherham were going to sit extremely deep and not give us any space to play our game, which is transitional, it's fast, it's actively trying to play football against them. And I think we created transitional moments ourselves using long balls from the back. It's something that works really effectively, especially when Ethan Ampadu can pick a pass at any range. And a couple of times you saw him launch long balls over to Somerville, Bamford, Rotherham. Anyone that was in the right sort of area to receive it would get the ball from Ampadu, and then suddenly the majority of Rotherham's players are on the wrong side of the ball, chasing backwards. That's how we forced transitions against a team that weren't willing to play a transitional game of football, and I think that was fantastic. In addition to that, Jorginho Ruter's through balls were fantastic. I'm using the word fantastic lots of times, but that's because we were. Ruter can pick a pass expertly. His weight on a pass is beautiful, and the amount of times that he put Somerville through, he put Bamford through, and it just didn't quite happen in the first half, was huge. Second half, things got significantly better in those regards. But I think the attacker being Ruter, has been excellent from front to back. Not only is the fact that he's not at number 9 meaning that he's in a little bit more space in the middle of the park, but it means that he's in a position where he can track in, make sure to make some fantastic challenges, and yeah, I think it's an absolute must for Jorginho Ruter to stay in that position, because he gets the most out of him and he gets the most out of everyone else when he's playing there. In addition to that, you had Bamford stretching the defence expertly. You'd see Bamford making runs and one or two of the centre-backs would have to follow because they're playing 3 at the back, and you don't want to leave your other centre-back one-on-one against Patrick Bamford when he's in the sort of form he is. There might be some questions over the goal that he scored. Was it handball? Was it not handball? I think it is significantly easier to not answer those questions and to say, doesn't matter. We would have had a penalty if the referee was watching. They wouldn't have conceded that goal if the referee was watching. Evens out a little bit. And on the subject of penalties, Crescencio Somerville in this match had such good composure, it was ridiculous. You can tell that he's made a little bit of an improvement on his decision making, because a lot of the time he wouldn't look for a finish where normally he would. He'd look for a pass to someone in a better position than him. And although that never came together to form a goal, so many times it improved the quality of our chances and meant that we probably should have scored. There was that one where Bamford had a shot that deflected up onto the bar, then Bamford had a second shot, and then Nonto had a shot. Insane moment or so, and that comes from Crescencio Somerville picking the right pass. And in terms of composure, there was both his finish under pressure because he was being pressed by someone behind and quite close to the goalkeeper, and his Panenka. This is the Championship. You're against Rotherham. Who the hell tries a Panenka at this level? Other than Crescencio Somerville, of course. I'm also a big fan of Jorginho Ruter's wide play, because At a certain point, we took Somerville off, put Piru on, and that meant Rutter had to shift out to the left. I really like him over there. It's a little bit more space for him to work in, and although it's not something that I call a consistent position, the fact that he's versatile enough to say, no, I'll play out here and I will create all the chances that I was before, just from somewhere else. Brilliant. That's the attacking stuff done. Now we need to talk about the defensive play, and we were incredibly solid at the back for 90% of the game. They barely had a chance. Their best chance for a long time was Glenn Kamara nearly putting the ball into Ilham Melier's net with no pressure. I think a lot of this comes from having Grueff, either way, as a screening midfielder, because he's everything that you could possibly ask. He doesn't stop running. He's a very fast boy, and the fact that we got him for like £4 million makes him a complete bargain. And our substitutions also showed a massive sign of versatility in the midfield and defensive areas. Archie Gray, when we made a substitution, shifted forwards. We took Glenn Kamara off, and Gray was like, fine, I can fill that gap. At a later point, we took Ilya Gruev off. And Ampadu was just like, sure, I can push forward. And it was so good that we could just say, right, two of our defenders, they're midfielders now. And that flexibility means that you have more squad depth than you think, because players can go into multiple spots. It's a lot better than going, you're a left back, you're a right back, that's all you do. It means you can do a lot more in terms of surprising opponents and looking after your players' fitness. However, I do have a couple of little concerns over the late game here. It feels like the focus definitely slipped when we were 3-0 up and we made a lot of substitutions, and it very clearly became a game of just look after yourselves, lads. We did give them several chances that we didn't need to at all. And at this point, you need to sort of compliment Ilham Melier, because he dealt with them really well despite the fact he had nothing to do all day. Staying switched on that far into a match, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially when the game is happening 50 yards in front of you at all times. The fact he was able to deal with that, including 2 very nice saves, I'm not going to complain. In addition to that, Conor Roberts showed a good bit of promise. There was one tackle that he made that I thought was really nice, but the referee gave a foul for. I'm going to put that down to referee things rather than me being wrong, because it's a lot easier to have that opinion. He was also quite good going forward, made a couple of opportunities, and I look forward to seeing a little bit more of him throughout the season. And ultimately today was a big day for the promotion hopes, and I'm going to go around the grounds a little bit just to discuss what else happened. First up, Ipswich 2, West Brom 2 is obviously a very big result for us. Ipswich dropping 2 points means that we are now comfortably ahead of them, and Ipswich didn't only drop points, they looked really average at the time. West Brom didn't look good, and Ipswich were unable to break them down, unable to score enough goals, and unable to adequately defend against West Brom, and that's kind of huge. That shows they're easy enough to get at. And another result that does this, which even though they've won, is Southampton 5, Huddersfield 3. Now, on the face of it, this isn't necessarily good for us. Southampton have 3 points, but look into it in a little bit more detail. It shows big weaknesses for Southampton, because they've conceded 3 goals to Huddersfield, who, remember, 21st place in the league. In addition to that, in the first half, they were 2-0 down, which says that a higher quality squad at half-time, when it's 2-0, than Huddersfield, will go, okay, we'll keep you out. And that will do. A team with a better defence than Huddersfield's, because Huddersfield are not a good side here, will shut Southampton out after getting that advantage. And that's a big weakness, because you can't be at home against Huddersfield on a 20-something match winning streak. Not winning streak, undefeated streak, either way. And then somehow you're behind not once but twice. 2-0, 3-2. They could have lost this match with ease, and better sides will punish that. So ultimately, what does this all mean? It means Leeds United are now 3 points clear of Ipswich in 3rd place, although you have to remember that Ipswich have a game in hand over us, but we're ahead on goal difference, so probably okay. We are only 1 point behind a fairly wobbly Southampton side that have a hell of a lot of tough games ahead of them, including most of the top of the league away from home, which is going to be a big issue if they keep up this low quality stuff, because it feels like they are missing Carlos. Is it Carlos Alcaraz? It's someone Alcaraz. Is Carlos Alcaraz the tennis one? Either way. And Ipswich haven't won a match in the last 4. So ultimately, I think the battle is on. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't yet, that'd be massively appreciated. And I will see you later.